Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Rachel Garceau, and this is your first alert Weather Plus forecast as we get ready to enter a week where heat and haze will likely end up being our main weather headlines, especially early in the work week. Monday in particular, which will likely end up being our hottest day of the extended period, though not by a whole lot. Now, moisture will begin to increase again Tuesday into Wednesday, and that could lead to the return of some isolated valley storms. We'll likely see more activity south of the I-84 corridor Monday into Tuesday, with more widespread activity on Wednesday. This may help clear out some of the smoke, but in the short term, we are going to be watching air quality very closely. So, culprit behind the smoke that started trickling in over the weekend and which will persist on Monday are fires burning in central and eastern Oregon. So, with surface winds out of the northwest, we get that smoke kind of being dragged into southwest Idaho on those northwesterly winds. And so the amount of surface smoke as we take this out now through Tuesday morning will really ebb and flow. It's difficult to really forecast air quality and how much smoke we may see across the areas, simply because it's all kind of dependent on fire behavior and those diurnal wind patterns. But still, I think we can wager a pretty safe guess that we'll have that hazy horizon in place at least for Monday, likely into Tuesday, and then we'll see how those fires are behaving by the middle of the week, and that will determine how much smoke we see across southern Idaho. The heat does look like a sure bet. Monday, there's a heat advisory in place for all of southern Idaho as we expect widespread triple digits. Boise up to 103 Monday afternoon. As clouds increase with that monsoonal moisture making a return Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures back off a little bit, but still the takeaway here is for the entire work week, highs are up near 100 degrees. Typically this time of year, we're at 94 in Boise. So what you see here is not all that crazy, nothing record setting, but certainly be ready for the heat and the haze if you plan to spend any extended time outdoors. Both of those things should have you maybe reconsidering a prolonged day outdoors, or make sure you're able to sneak inside as often as possible, and just for the heat, find some shade. Now, looking at precipitation and storm chances Wednesday into Thursday for the Boise area, you can see coverage is still pretty low. The majority of areas will likely not get hit with a thunderstorm in the middle of the week, but certainly, just like we've seen over the last week or two, we will see those ominous clouds likely starting to develop in the late day hours, and where those storms continue to build and things get especially unstable, we could see some of those storms popping off again by Wednesday in the Treasure Valley, possibly as early as Tuesday in the mountains. High pressure is still our big dominant weather feature. We get that clockwise rotation around high pressure. That's what's funneling the heat and the moisture up our way, and that will remain really the pattern for the foreseeable future. So as we look at our future cast, Monday will be very quiet. Heat is that headline. Can't rule out Monday evening a spot shower, maybe some outflow winds south of the Magic Valley making their way into the Magic Valley, but you can see the majority of not just Idaho but the entire Northwest really quiet on Monday. Now on Tuesday, as more moisture streams in and a disturbance starts making its way northward from the south of us, that could trigger some more widespread activity on Tuesday. We're seeing really just a couple little blips here on our future radar. I don't think Tuesday's activity amounts to much, but if you plan to maybe have a midweek camping trip as early as Tuesday afternoon, just keep an eye on the sky and know the ingredients will be there for those afternoon storms. But I think again on Tuesday, the bulk of the activity is right along the Idaho-Nevada border, possibly over the Owyhees. On Wednesday, though, as we start to get more and more energy injected into the atmosphere from that disturbance lifting in from the south, we'll start seeing much more widespread showers and storms. Again, the majority of the action will be over the mountains of southeast Oregon, southwest Idaho, and central Idaho, but I certainly cannot rule out a quick burst of heavy rain, small hail, gusty winds, and abundant lightning over the Treasure Valley. The concern here is that some of these storms on Wednesday with a saturated atmosphere could be some heavy rain makers, and so will bring flash flood concerns back into the conversation on Wednesday in the mountains, and we'll really have to wait a day or two until our models get more closely aligned and we get good solid data to see where those storms will most likely develop. But the takeaway is, again, just be ready for that active weather, especially Wednesday across central and southern Idaho. But again, to open up the work week, heat is the headline. These are expected high temperatures on Monday. There's that toasty 103 in Boise, reaching for the century mark in Twin Falls, even all the way out into Idaho Falls. Off to the west, Portland at 90. On Monday, Seattle in the low 80s, but you can see that heat gets widespread across the entire Northwest. I would not be surprised to see widespread heat advisories and extreme heat warnings issued for much of Washington, Oregon, and or Idaho, just depending on location, as things will be very warm. So 100 in Boise or so on Tuesday afternoon, low 90s off to our west. Medford up to the triple digits even on Tuesday. On Wednesday, things don't change much. We may lose 1 or 2 degrees of warmth. Twin Falls and Idaho Falls will actually cool a bit, as that will likely be, they'll see more abundant cloud cover there and possibly more storm activity, which could keep a lid on that heat. But regardless, it's going to be pretty toasty for the next several days. So looking at the west central mountains for the work week, mostly cloudy skies Monday, Tuesday, which actually will likely offer some relief from the heat. High still up near 90. By Tuesday, we see that slight chance of a storm popping up. Much more widespread activity expected on Wednesday. Again, these could be heavy rainmakers, but still fire conditions remain critical, as we have been very dry, and lightning on top of those dry fuels is never a good mix. So we will hope for enough rain that if lightning does maybe produce a little spark on dry vegetation, it could put it out real quick, but that's not always a guarantee. Storm activity starts wrapping up on Thursday, and then we return our attention back to blazing heat that sets in everywhere by Friday, even McCall into the low 90s. Looking at our 7-day outlook for the Magic Valley, hot on Monday with a heat advisory in place, highs pushing 100 in Twin to open up the work week. Slight chance of an early morning shower on Tuesday. Much more widespread storm activity expected on Wednesday, though again still isolated. Just all of the atmospheric ingredients will be there in the Magic Valley on Wednesday for those storms to develop. Starts tapering off Thursday into Friday, but we don't kick the storm chances in Twin completely until the weekend. And you can see those highs hover just about 3 to 5 degrees above normal, topping off in those mid-90s through the work week and into the weekend. Here's a 7-day outlook for the Boise area. Patchy smoke will continue to impact air quality at least Monday. I would wager a guess for actually several more days to come. So keep an eye on that AQI in your neck of the woods if you're planning outdoor activities. Airnow.gov is a great resource for that. Tuesday, Wednesday, we talked about that heat still up near the triple digits. Wednesday, our best chance for that active weather to come and go. Still a stray shower possible on Thursday, but then the moisture starts retreating. Storm chances back off by Friday. And then we just have a hot and sunny weekend. Morning lows up around 70 degrees every morning from now through the weekend, with those afternoon highs fluctuating from the triple digits to upper 90s. Thanks so much for tuning into this First Alert Weather Plus forecast. We'll catch you next time.